Okay, I'm back. All right, so this is another deck I got. It's one of the more like expensive kind of indie decks. And whatever, no regrets. It's called the Prisma Visions deck, and I got it because of the art. It is a glossier deck. The Star Spinner kind of has a matte finish, so I think they're a lot easier to shuffle. These are kind of like slippery and they kind of slip out of your hands. Tay has the Light Visions deck, which is by the same artist, and those have more of a matte finish to them. And Tay should show off that deck. Anywho, this comes in a really cool little box as well. Has a little poem about the Fool, who's the start of the journey there. And the Major Arcana has a nice little book as well. It's pretty cool. And I saved out the majors to show you guys some of those. This has less like representative imagery and more abstract. This is the star, and if you look closely, you can see a woman falling through the sky. Star is the water bearer, so there's water as well, and there's flowers in a lot of the cards, probably like moon flowers or something like that associated with the night. And I'll show you the sun as well because that's one of my favorites. This is the sun. It's pretty amazing, right? It doesn't look like the sun, but it has that vibe to it. It's very bright and beautiful. And it has these sort of beautiful floral patterns to it, as well as sort of the dripping down paint. But if you're like learning the tarot first off, this might not be a great first deck. But like it has such a good vibe. I know that Tay has been loving their deck. Oh, lovers here, which means partnership. And you can see we've got a man and a woman in the front, but there are two men in the back, which I think is very cool, but you can barely see them. See, there they are right there in the back. So it is kind of a more representative deck, which I like. I just like, I think the original deck was made in a time where we had a lot more rigid structures in place, and I want to see those being done away with in sort of all of my everyday life. So I look for things that are not going to show those very rigid, patriarchal, white supremacist structures. And the devil is actually a really cool card in this deck. Devil means addiction and sort of things that you sort of want to banish from your life. My friend Mara, who's very into this stuff, says the devil is sort of about the stories that you tell yourself, the falsehoods that you tell yourself, and sort of looking away from the truth of things. And this is beautiful. A lot of the devils in decks are very representative, and they have like the Baphomet devil. But this has this really beautiful but eerie looking forest. So, you sort of get a different vibe from it. It still like represents the same thing when it comes up, but you're seeing a different piece of the thing it represents from the art, I think. And the other cool thing about this deck is that each of the suits, they have their own picture. So if you put all of them side by side from the ace to the king, they make one whole picture. So I put together the ace of chalices, the two of chalices, the three of chalices, and the four of chalices for you guys. And you can see that it makes one whole picture. And it still has the same vibe as the original deck. For example, three of chalices means friendship, companionship, and we have these three sort of dancers that look very much like a Degas painting. So it keeps in line with this impressionist art style while, showing the structures of the original deck. And it has this cool extra card. Every edition of this deck has an extra card. This is called Reverie, and it's sort of the artist made up the meaning for this one, which is sort of diving into an alternate world, which makes us think of Fillory, or something like that, portals into a different place. So when it comes up in reading, you can either skip it or you can read it with that depending on like what you're looking for that day. Anyway, that is my introduction to the Prisma Visions deck. Goodbye.